for the West, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James. See, the way I look at this, right? The only two, in my opinion, that are undeniably guaranteed when it comes to the Western Conference starters are Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to me, are the only guarantees for the Western Conference starters. Now we get to the nitty-gritty, right? I think LeBron James, for obviously his age and for his legacy, he has to get in there. But even if you take that part out of it, right? I personally think that he should be battling Kevin Durant for this spot. And when you look at Kevin Durant versus LeBron James, I believe Kevin Durant has played 33 games. Let me double check it right now. Let's see. He has played 33 games to LeBron James's 39 games. LeBron is currently 23.6, 7.7 rebounds, 8.9 assists. And KD is 27.2, 6.5 rebounds, and 4.1 assists. But the problem is, when you look at the standings, the Lakers are 5th and the Suns are 10th. So between Kevin Durant and LeBron James, LeBron gets in. Right? So now that leaves us with Steph Curry and the spot that Kevin Durant had taken. Right? I don't think Steph Curry's played at an all-star game starter level this year. I get that he's had his moments, right? He's had some good games. That game against Klay Thompson and the Mavericks was massive. They had a hot start to the year, the Warriors did. But they've really trailed off. And when you look at just his numbers and impacting winning, 23 points per game, right? Let me just make sure that's what he's actually averaging. 22.6 points per game, 4.9 rebounds, and 6.3 assists. For you guys to end up 11th, to me, is not good enough. So who should that spot be? Who should take that spot? In my opinion, I think it should be James Harden. James Harden has not only been available, right? That's 41 games to Steph's 36. He is leading the Los Angeles Clippers with Paul George leaving, Kawhi being hurt. 21.2 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, and 8.2 assists for James Harden. And they are, let me double check where they are in the standings, and they are 6th. They are 6th in the standing. Yeah, I knew you'd like that one. I knew you would like that one. And obviously, right, when it comes to the starters, Luka has been injured, so, he probably would have taken a starting spot. I think Kyrie has been very good, but a starter, I don't know if he's played at that level and impacted winning at that level to be the starter. They've, trailed off ever since Luka had left. If his game had upped and they started winning a whole bunch of games, he's leading the charge. I get that he also was hurt for a little bit too, but that counts, right? Whatever the reason was, you weren't there, so you weren't able to impact winning positively and also add to the stats. So unfortunately, I think he now has to fight to be one of the bench guys in the All-Star game, but to be a starter, I don't think Kyrie gets that. Now, the other option for the guard, right, would be Jalen Green for the Houston Rockets, right? Because they are the number 2 team in the West, right? 29-14. Jalen Green is averaging 21.3, 4.3 rebounds, and 2.7 assists. And, I think, I obviously said Harden, right? But I think if you were going to do, Jalen Green would be close, and I think Jalen Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder would be a close shout also. For me, the thing that separates Jalen Williams from OKC and Jalen Green from the Houston Rockets is the fact that Jalen Green, even though he can kind of lean on Sengun, he has more of the responsibility of the offense than a Jalen Williams does, in my opinion, even though J-Dub has been unbelievable this year. I think he should be a lock in the bench, but we want to celebrate winning, right? And I get that there are instances, and there's going to be one soon. There are instances where you can argue, someone who's not on a winning team or in a winning situation, the Kevin Durant spot, right? So here's the thing, right? When it comes to the Kevin Durant spot, that's the power forward or a big, right? And there are a couple names. Oh, I also wanted to shout out Norman Powell. I don't know if he's gonna end up being an all-star this year, but I think in terms of the guards, he needs at least a shout. I think he at least needs to get highlighted. Does he get in over a Jalen Williams or a Jalen Green? Personally, I don't think so. But he definitely deserves credit, and I think he definitely deserves a shout. So now we get to the bigs for the West, right? If it's not Kevin Durant, then who will it be, right? Anthony Davis is one, right? Anthony Davis, I think, he gets shit on for missing games, but he's played 39. He's played the same amount of games as Bron. 39 games, 25.6, 11.8 rebounds, 3.5 assists. How many blocks and 2.2 blocks per game. So Anthony Davis, obviously, a great shout. And then we were just talking about Jalen Green's running mate, Alperen Sengun. 19.2, 10.5, 5 assists. Unfortunately, I think his numbers aren't enough, but I do think he deserves to be in the conversation because he is impacting winning in a positive way. And they win by committee over there in Houston. So I did want to shout out Sengun. And then the next two players are going to be two players that are on the lower end of the standings, right? And that's Domantas Sabonis in the Sacramento Kings, and he's averaging right now 21 points, 14.4 rebounds, and 6.2 assists, and half a block a game. And granted, the Sacramento Kings are ninth. They are not very good right now. And honestly, I feel like between this year and last year, and he didn't get in last year, I feel like he probably was playing better last year, I'll be honest with you. So that makes this a little bit tough. But the last one is Wemby. And if it were me personally, right, I think you put Wemby in the starting lineup. We could talk about winning, but he's a second-year player. leading the team. So compared to all of the guys on this list, he doesn't have nearly as much experience as any of these guys to impact winning as much as he can. And when we run through the list of those bigs that we just named, even if you throw Kevin Durant in there, right? Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Domantas Sabonis, Sengun. Oh, I don't want to miss. My bad, guys. I also don't want to miss Jaren Jackson Jr. I think he definitely ends up being a reserve, but I don't want to miss Jaren Jackson Jr. No, Jokic is guaranteed. Yeah, I don't even think you debate Jokic being in the starting lineup. Jokic is like we don't even mention that part. Like nobody debating Jokic. Nobody's debating Jokic. But in terms of those bigs, right, for the second spot, right, in the starting lineup, Anthony Davis, Sengun, Sabonis, Jaren Jackson Jr., who else did I name? And Wemby. Out of all of those names, outside of maybe Anthony Davis, no one else is going to be contending for an award at the end of the year other than Wemby. And when you think about someone that's a defensive player of the year, sometimes people look at that player like a specialist, right? Right? Like Wemby would be, in the past, he would kind of be considered a defensive specialist. Well, that specialist is also averaging 24.8 points per game and 10.8 rebounds to go with 3.8 assists. And he is leading the league in blocks at 4 a game. I think he is a great candidate to where we could kind of disregard the record because of how young he is. And I think the starting lineup for the West should be James Harden, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, LeBron James, Victor Wembanyama, and Nikola Jokic.